All right, guys, the Toronto Real Estate Board stats are out, and in this video, we're going to talk about how April 2022 is different than all the other months. Here we go. All right, guys, so we have updated numbers here for April 2022 from the Toronto Real Estate Board. We get these every single month, but in this particular report, there's one stat that actually really surprised me, so you want to stick to this video to make sure you see what that is. And are we seeing a new price trend here? Because now for the last 2 months, we kind of saw something as well. So let's pull up these stats here so you can see exactly what we're talking about. This is a side-by-side March, and we're actually comparing March to April. So let's take a look. We actually see here the stat that I'm talking about is the average price point, guys. This is the second month now that we saw a drop. We saw that from February to March, we had a 2% drop in average price. And this time we actually have a larger drop, 3.5% from March to April. I mean, we're at about a 5% drop in 2 months at the overall stage. But let's dig a little deeper because we know that there could be more to the story here. Obviously, price points change drastically from condo up to a detached. So let's pull up these other numbers here. It's just going a little bit deeper. We're seeing again, a comparison from March to April, but we're seeing the different property types this time. And so let's take a look. Now, don't worry, I've already done the math for you, but this is what we're seeing. We see that the low-rise homes continue to have a drop. Last time we saw that it was a 5.5 drop in the detached and semis and townhouse property types. And this time we're seeing about a 4% drop approximately. Which is a little bit less than what we saw last year, but in total, I mean, we're just under 10% here for low-rise homes, which is very interesting. But the stat that actually surprised me, guys, was the condos. Condos definitely surprised me. Let's put this stat back up if it's not up already, just so you can see. Condos here, for the first time this year, actually went down 2%. This is the first time this year. Actually, when we looked at the numbers from February to March, we saw that it went up 1%. Now we went down 2%. However, keep in mind, guys, condos is still the entry-level price point. I mean, the average price here, you see it's sitting approximately $790. We're actually at about a $200,000 gap and difference between a condo price and a townhome price. And not just that, guys, we're at about an $800,000 gap between a condo price and a detached home. So, at the end of the day, condos are still the most affordable thing that we can get into. And I really do still see a lot of people getting into condos this year. That's something we're going to have to see. But that's what we're seeing in these particular stats. So a few more points here related to condos. I still think condos have a stronger year ahead. The reason is because of this big drastic gap between condos and low-rise homes, which I identified before. I have seen a yin and yang between high-rise and low-rise in the past, where we see a big price divergence between condos and low-rise tends to always kind of creep back towards each other, whether that be low-rise dropping or high-rise increasing. I do see that, and then then there's a point in time where we see low-rise go up in price and et cetera, et cetera. So we have seen that over the last few years, and that could be something that we're seeing now as well. The other thing as well is that the stigma behind living in a condo, which was definitely there in the 2020, 2021 years, I can tell you for sure, because there were some deals and a half on condos over the last couple of years, and we're telling people to get back into condos because it was just a short-lived thing. Right now that we are a little bit more comfortable with COVID and living with COVID, you're seeing the people come back to condos because the price point is great and because we're living in the GTA, which is a place in Canada, in Ontario, where a lot of people tend to gravitate to because we have a lot of employment here and we have a lot of opportunities. Okay, so that's not going to stop anytime soon, and for that reason, I think we're going to see a comeback in condos, even though we did see a little bit of a drop from 1 month in the condo price. Again, we're talking about 1 or 2 months here. That really isn't a trend. In real estate, we need to see a little bit more history for us to really definitively say something's going on. But don't be surprised if condos start to tick back up, right, over the months to come. And if they don't, then I would definitely have my investor hat on, and I'd be taking a look at GTA condos as a real option to invest possibly. And you know what? I mean, if you're really interested, get in touch with us, guys, because there might even be some options on the market right now where you can put 20-25% down in a condo and maybe break even or even cash flow slightly, which was very, very difficult to do in the years past. If you're looking for something like that, it's, condo rental is a little bit more hands-off, less maintenance, and it could really be a good addition to portfolios. So something to look out for, guys. Okay, now I did want to actually take a look at the stats a little bit deeper. I wanted to kind of move away from the doom and gloom, guys, because I think that you know, what we're seeing in the stats earlier in this video, it looked pretty bad, but you know, you got to take it into context. Again, 1 or 2 months is not necessarily a trend. We need to see more of this in order to see exactly what's going on into the rest of the year. We could actually start balancing out in our price point. So let's take a look at those things right now. Let's pull up another set of stats here so that we can kind of focus in. Let's take a look at this. Okay, guys, so here we're taking a look at the April year-over-year stats, not month-over-month. This is a definite trend, right? Because it's over a whole entire year. And one of the first things I wanted to point out here are the sales. Okay, so we see that here sales are down 41% from April 2021. And you know, I know that that looks like bad. It seems pretty bad. And I bet you in the news, this is probably the stat that you're going to see the most. Sales have dropped 41%. And I don't know how many times I have to correct people and remind them that these are sales volume. It's not the price that has dropped 41%. It's just the sales have dropped 41% from the previous year. And remember, guys, it's not so horrible, okay? Well, 41% drop seems so horrible. The news is definitely going to have a field day with this one. However, we got to remember that 2021 was actually a record year. Realtors sold 121,000 properties. That's never been done in the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board. So that was a record year. I mean, it's really tough to actually, you know, continue to have records year over year. So yeah, I mean, we went from 13,600 sales down to about 8,000 sales. But let's pull up this other stat here, this other little chart to kind of show you the different sales year over year for the month of April. And you can see that if you do a couple averages here, you notice that 13 was exceptional. And we're typically in that 8,000 to 9,000 range for sales in the month of April. That's pretty normal. So we're closer to normal now, I would say, in 2022 with this $8,000 stat. It's not as bad as it seems, guys, for sure. So let's go back to the last slide here that we had, the last screenshot, because there's another thing I wanted to point out here. The second thing here is our average price point. You see that from April 2021 to April 22, we still had an increase, right? We're at 15% year over year increase versus last year. So our prices this year are still higher, well above higher than the 2021 pricing. So the truth is, you know, we may actually never really see a negative number for this particular stat all year. We'll have to really see. It could be that we're stabilizing a bit here in our price points, but still well above what we were getting last year. This is possible. We really have to see. Okay, guys? Now, last thing I wanted to point out here is the months of inventory. So this is actually used to for us to determine whether we're in a buyer's market, a seller's market, a balanced market when it comes to real estate. And typically what it is we're comparing active listings to sales in one particular month. So let's take a look in April here. I did the math for you guys. We actually, for the whole entire Toronto Real Estate Board, we're sitting at 1.63 months of inventory. If nothing came on the market, based on these numbers, it would take about a month and half to 2 months for all real estate to sell out. Based on these numbers, obviously they can change month to month, but this is the case at the moment. And keep in mind, guys, this 1.63% or this 1.63 months of inventory is for all the Toronto Real Estate Board. And that's a huge geographical area. We're talking about the city of Toronto, we're talking about Durham, talking about Peel, we're talking about York, we're talking about Halton region, and we even got Dufferin County in there. We even have Simcoe County in there, which is out in Barrie. So it's a huge area, and technically speaking, based on this, we're still in a seller's market. Actually, let's put this little chart up here. It's a legend. Kind of shows you how we judge what type of market we're in based on the month of inventory, and also our ratio as well that's in there. And based on what you see here, we are at a seller's market, right? It's going to take a few more months of inventory. Maybe when we get to that 3, 4, 5 months of inventory is when we can say that we're in a balanced market. Now, it would be great to be in a balanced market where, you know, it would be a little bit better for the buyer and seller, a little bit easier for us as agents as well. However, we're a little bit far from that at the moment. So yes, guys, we do have now 2 months, month to month of price drops in the average price point here in the GTA. However, I also showed you that we're up 15% from April 2021 pricing. So you got to really look at both sides here to get a bigger picture of what's going on. I think we need a few more months of history to really understand what type of trend we're in. What I'm hoping is that prices begin to stabilize. If they do drop a bit, I mean, it's not the end of the world, guys. We are coming down from really steep pricing that we saw at the beginning of the year in January and February. So, you know, the market was not going in a sustainable direction. We can't be going, you know, 20, 30% year over year increases all the time, every single month. We would run out of money. You know, people have budgets and they got to stop somewhere. And so for us to actually be, you know, kind of trimming that excess that we saw in January, February, kind of makes sense to me, and it kind of puts us in the place that probably we should be in. So something had to give at the end of the day. Now, guys, we got our eyes open. The marketplace is always revealing more information to us, and we are the ones that are going to be documenting all this and giving it to you guys so you know what's going on. So make sure you're subscribing to our channel so you're not missing out on this information, because it's definitely valuable, especially if you're in the market as a buyer or a seller. This is invaluable. You should know what's going on in the marketplace before you jump in. And you can reach out to us, guys. Below are some links. So if you want to sign up for a monthly newsletter that has this type of content as well, or if you want to reach out to us and ask us specific questions, because remember, the Toronto Real Estate Board covers a big geographical area. What's going on in Pickering is very different than what's going on in Mississauga, but we got all the information for you guys. Thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll chat soon. Take care.